I finally got the live Bizzo to work. And now I'm just going to practice what I'm going to do when I actually do these in future. So I tried this once again. That's some sort of group chat business. Something about apps. Something about YouTube. Oh, this could be interesting. Okay. I'm not sure what this will do. Allow. Continue. Okay. I'm not sure what I've just done. No, I don't want to do that. I'm like minutes in and I've already stuffed up the screen, so not too sure. No, let's just, let's not do that. Save to playlist, create playlist. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh my gosh. Why did I do that? Oh my gosh. Anyways, whatever's going on. I don't know if anyone's actually watching this or if it's something that I can, the comments that I can view. I don't know where I'd go to view my comments. Video manager, maybe, I don't know. Videos. I just don't know what I'm doing. I think that's the bottom line here. Live streaming. I have no idea what I'm doing. I am live. I'm quite confident that I'm live. I just don't know how to get to chats or to see if anyone's actually talking to me or not. So if anyone has any ideas how I do that. Maybe I need my phone. Maybe that's what I need. Which just seems a bit stupid, doesn't it? All right. It can't be that hard, can it? It says something about offline. Am I online? I'm not entirely sure. Live streaming. Sorry, you just have to tolerate this for a moment until I find my bearings, because upcoming something or other, live chat. Health is good. Live control. You know what? Sorry, guys. I've got no idea. I've just absolutely got no idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and say hello. I can't interact with you. I actually don't know how to. But I can see that I believe I'm live, and that's about all I know. And so I wanted to talk to you guys live, in a live capacity, just for a little smidge of a change, to one, figure out how to utilize live. And I must thank the beautiful, enigmatic, darling, gorgeous Noah Tempestari for putting his little how to live Google Hangouts video up, because it was because of him that I'm like, oh, that one little button, that's what I wasn't pressing, and that's how I couldn't figure it out. And you know, it all just sort of came together in my head, and I'm just like, gosh. So a big thank you to him. And just FYI, is he not the most darling, gorgeous person you have ever seen? Like, so sweet, so charismatic, so cute and nervous at the same time with his little live Google Hangouts. And I've just got to say, I've got a tremendous amount of time for that boy. And I just think that he's lovely, and I think he does some great stuff in the community. So he's one to tick off the list. Like, if you're not subscribed to him, please just go over there and subscribe to him and absorb his darling nature, because he's fabulous. Now, who else? Since I'm talking channels, I may as well talk about some people. Why not? Why not share the love? Hey. So people that I have really been enjoying of late, one, Noah Tempestari, and I'm probably my Australian accent is no doubt butchering his name. We're just going to go with that. And the second person that I have just been loving, I mean loving, I love her. I love her. That is the lovely Alvine Green. So Miss Alvine, with her deliciously purple hair and her totally colourful magical room, just has me going like this. Oh, I just watch her and I think you are so, so lovely in every sense of the word, like a flower in every sense of the word. The petals, the center, the stem, the leaves. She's just so lovely. And her beautiful purple hair just draws the eye in. She's got a really relaxed manner of speaking, and she's very, very honest, and she's very upfront, and she's relatively new to the craft when you think about it, and yet she does such wonderful work, takes such beautiful photos, delivers such enormously nutritious content, and that is why she is so successful on YouTube. Her channel is growing by leaps and bounds because she is naturally phenomenal. She's just one of those people that is born with it, and she has it. So go and watch her if you're not already subscribed to her. And I dare say anyone who is subscribed to me would absolutely be subscribed to her, and if you're not, then shame on you. Who else? Who else am I loving? Who else? Who else am I loving at present? Who have I recently discovered? I feel like I've recently discovered a few channels, and it's made me happy because I haven't really been watching too many witchy channels. A few people came into my life when I first came onto YouTube, and I came onto YouTube with a pagan presence. I was Avalon the Witch, Avalon the Elemental Witch. And I've been more tarot than I have been witchcraft of late, mostly because my inspiration and sort of the circle of people that I really interacted with in a pagan capacity, they all disappeared. They disappeared off YouTube, and I kind of just sort of went my own way and went tarot way. And don't get me wrong, I love tarot, and I find tarot can be, just so incorporated into a person's pagan path. And that's just my personal thoughts on it. I should say this, and that is that you do not have to be a witch to use tarot, and not all witches use tarot. I am a witch. I use tarot. That's the only certainty there. Everyone else to their own, each to their own in that capacity. Some witches will prefer a pendulum. Some will prefer throwing bones. Some will prefer runes. Some will prefer candle gazing. Some will prefer water scrying. Some will prefer aromacy and so on and so forth. There is a plethora of divinatory systems out there, and each witch has the potential and the right to go choosing their own. Yeah. So I'm shuffling a deck. I'm shuffling the newest deck. I did a video unboxing of this deck today. Hang on, let me just angle it down a wee tinge so that you can see which one it is. It is the Sacred Creators Oracle by the lovely Chris Ann. I think she goes by Pixie Curio on Insta, and it's beautiful. So let's just draw a card for inspiration here. Manifesting and doing. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm manifesting and I'm doing. That's how we do. So I'm just trying that out in every capacity. When I have a new deck, I have to shove it in people's faces all the time. And if you were my friend, you'd probably not be my friend anymore, because whenever my friends come into my home, I'll be like, I've got this new deck. Ask me a question. I'm ridiculous. And I think that most recently, I went to an art gallery thingy with a really good friend of mine. She's actually a coven sister. And I walked over there and I'm like, wow, that could be the Queen of Wands. Or I said something tarot related, and she just looked at me with this like look in her eyes, and she goes, do you have to relate everything back to tarot? And I'm like, I really can't help it. I just can't help it. That's just the way that it is. I see everything as tarot. I see everything elementally, and tarot and elemental witchcraft fit very well together because, as you know, the tarot is quite influenced by the 4 elements, and I am quite influenced by the 4 elements. And then I've got my big players, the major arcana. And they just cheer me on. They just cheer me on as I go and be as annoying as I possibly can to other people. So I'm a little bit, I'm in a bit of a spirited mood today because I have just finished a ton of client readings and I am very like Snapfire right now. Intriguing. My synapses are firing. I am just very in the mood for a chat and a mood to talk about things right now. And I thought I'm going to put that beautiful wisdom that Noah lent me into a live Google chat and just see how it goes, because I would really like to do more of these in future. And I would also like to figure out how I can access the chat. So if you've just joined my live chat, and I don't know if you have, because I don't know how to read this business. Hello to you. Thanks for popping by, and sorry that I can't read any remarks that you are relaying to me because I don't have access to them. I'm not seeing anything around me, although I potentially should. And I'm disinclined to, what's the word? I'm disinclined to play around too much with it. I can see some like little statistics here and there, but just not sure. Just not sure. Anyways, so what else have I got on my plate? I've got a big year of witchcraft ahead. It's an odd statement to say, isn't it, really? But I have a big year of witchcraft. I have a lot on my plate that I'm attempting to achieve this year with my own personal practice, and then sharing facets of my practice with you lovely people. And I sincerely hope that you're willing to accept that, because I don't, as you know, I'm not super huge on talking about my witchcraft, the way that I view my witchcraft, the things that I do, my practice as a whole, my family practice. I do a little bit here and there, and I did when I was overseas in Brazil, but for most part, I tend to be quite private about what I'm doing and what I'm practicing and how I'm practicing and how certain things have evolved. And occasionally I'll pop online and I'll share something that's changed in my path and something that I might be including in my path. But for the majority of times, I'm doing videos on tarot and videos on unboxings, and I'm getting bored with that, to be perfectly honest. That was fine for a while, and now I'm getting bored with that. Not because I'm bored with unboxing, because let's face it, I'm a collector, so unboxings bring me joy, but I'm bored of sharing just that, and I've got so much more to say, and this is my year to say it. And furthermore, I feel a shift. I do feel a shift within me at present, and it's a shift that's been instigated by a tremendous amount of individuals in my life, both physical and online. And I'm quite active in my own pagan community. I've always been active in my own physical pagan community. No matter where I've lived, no matter what country I've been in, I have been physically active in circles and groups and groves, and interacting with covens, meeting people, you know, open circle gatherings, that kind of thing. I'm very, very into that, and I'm the person that's always there. You know, I'm very dedicated to that kind of business, and I love interacting with my community in a physical sense. And I also now love interacting with my community in a virtual sense. So the two have come together quite nicely for me, and that's very, very sweet. So I've got a lot that I'm aiming to achieve, and this year is my Hierophant year. So Hierophant is my birth card. It is also my year card. And I sat with that knowledge for quite some time. For about 16 days, I sat with that knowledge until I decided that I would go to my altar and I would open up a facet of myself that I hadn't opened up in quite some time, or that I had been maybe a bit shy. I don't know really what led me to close the door, but I felt like I needed to open the door. And I said, I'm willing to share. It was more about the openness that I wanted to be, and I closed off my YouTube Pagan Challenge with that openness, the concept of openness, how I wanted to share more and be more open. And whenever I share more and I am more open, I get a plethora of questions regarding how-tos. How would you recommend? And I thought, wow. And I've always quite avoided questions like that, mostly because I think in my mind, it's really up to the individual to find out that answer. If I say something, I could I could influence that person, and I could influence that person in maybe not the right way. And so I've had that in my head for a while. And I realized that that's actually quite ridiculous. Now, I didn't realize this on my own. I have good friends that tell me the truth, and they told me the truth to my face. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And so I worked with this Hierophant card business, and I decided that this would be the year that I would maybe teach, that I would do workshops, and that I would do them in a virtual sense. Whereas beforehand, I've always done workshops in a physical sense, and I've never gone online to do that. And so this year, I think I'm going to be doing that on top of creating my own tarot deck, which I'm in the process of. You'll be happy to know that I have been a bit quiet about that, mostly because of the holidays, and because I've had all three of my children at home, and it's been very, very hands-on for me as a mother. And yesterday was my first day without my children. They were all, my youngest daughter started her first day at a daycare centre. She only goes for 1 day a week. My son goes for 3 because he's enrolled in a kindy program, and my daughter's back at school. So I had my first day to myself. It was, by the way, the worst fucking day ever. And it just made me so sad that by the end of the night, I was bawling my eyes out going, this is the worst fucking day ever. And I had such high expectations. Well, actually, that's a lie. I didn't have expectations at all. I had anxiety when I woke up because I'm like, oh, my baby, you know, last day, and I had to release her, and you know, that was fine. But then I could have shed a few tears as I was leaving the daycare centre, and I pulled myself together and I did what I needed to do, and I didn't cry. I did not cry until the end of the night when everything went wrong in my day. And I was like, I had to go to the transport department. They stuffed around my form. I was there for 2.5 hours. That ate into my reading time. So I had client readings that I needed to do. That pushed back even further. Then I had to go and pick up my once broken down laptop to, you know, to see if it was okay. You know, they called me, it's ready. When I picked it up, it was covered in dust and debris, fingerprints. It had scratches on it. My not new, but my 9-month-old laptop that nobody but me was allowed to touch was in terrible condition. And I picked it up and shook it, and it fucking rattled, didn't it? So I yelled at someone. I actually yelled at 3 people and made one person cry, which I'm not terribly proud of, but at the same time, you know what? You fucked around with my belongings. Computers are expensive. Like, to treat somebody else's computer like it's disposable is simply unacceptable. And I'm a Taurus. I look after my belongings. Belongings to me deserve respect and care and courteousness. If I was to borrow somebody else's belongings, I would look after it so carefully, and I would be devastated if anything happened to it. So, of course, when I handed my computer over to be fixed to professionals, I assumed that the same level of care would have occurred there, and it didn't. And so, long story short, I made someone cry. And so that was just like the start. That was the very start of my day. And that sort of day just went on and on and on. But in the midst of that day, I did get my tarot contract signed, and I will be mailing it off tomorrow. And so my artist is locked in. My artist is locked in, and we can begin this process much more fervently than I have been of late. So I've got that going on. And then I was approached by a dear lovely lady on YouTube to participate in a tarot project that she has towards the middle of the year. And I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to be talking about this, but I agreed to teach at this particular event. And again, stepping into my Hierophant card, and I've put forward a proposal to teach tarot and spirituality, specifically tarot and spiritual practice. So how to cultivate a spiritual practice incorporating the tarot, how to cleanse your deck, choose your deck, empower your deck, ritual your deck, ancestral work with your deck, web work, and like basically it's just a ton of things that I've decided that I'm just going to go and talk about and share some information with some individuals. And I'm pretty excited to be doing that. Actually, once I said yes, I was like, now I've actually got to do it. So that means I've actually got to get some form of PDF writer thing going on. Anyways, because as you know, my computer crashed, so all of my software went with it. I have no software, no new software on this beautiful new computer of mine, and that just requires time and money to put that software on there, which I haven't done yet. So it's interesting. So that is another aspect of the Hierophant card that is slowly manifesting. I'm also going to do some digital downloads, some tarot-related digital downloads for my Etsy store, which is going to be fun. just little cheap digital downloads, things to help people out, little card thingies, and I'm just gonna play around with it and see what I can come up with, and I'm gonna try and draw some of it myself. So see how we go. As you know, I've been practicing my drawing, and that has been really fun, actually. Really fun practicing my drawing. Guys, I would like to introduce you to my water bottle. I know this is weird, right? There's a funny story about this. This beautiful, it's a Camelback, by the way, and I'm a big water bottle person. I carry my water bottle with me everywhere I go. And I very, very rarely buy water because I take water with me everywhere. Anyways, see this beautiful blue color? Now, when I'm doing client readings and the camera is down and all you see is my table and my hands, occasionally I'll reach for my water bottle and you'll just see this like hint of a blue. And because I do it without thinking and I do it so fast, it's just like this edge of blue. So for the longest time, I was getting these messages from clients going, oh my God, there was an orb. It's not an orb, dude. It's my Camelback water bottle. It's a true story. True story, guys. True story. Anyways, so I'm working with the archetype of the Hierophant. I'm interested in occult knowledge. And it's funny how my channel naturally deviated towards tarot. And I don't have a problem with that, and I'm sure other people don't really as well. But the fact of the matter is, I genuinely want to share facets of my practice now. I genuinely want to share things of a witchcraft persuasion, because I suppose one of the things that sort of deterred me really from going there and sharing too much in that aspect is that I have extremely strong opinions. I have extremely strong opinions, and I can get aggravated very quickly, especially when it comes to the world of witchcraft and the cynicism and the bullying that can occur in this realm of witchcraft. And one of my absolute pet peeves is those individuals who feel that they have the right to tell another person how to practice. And that, to me, that actually drives me insane. Like, it actually makes me want to scream. And I think to myself very quietly, you haven't got it. You haven't learnt anything. You don't understand the most vital aspect of witchcraft, and that is that it is a craft. It is a verb. It is a doing word. And each person has a way to craft. Everybody's approach to witchcraft is 100% unique to that individual. It is that individual plus the lump sum of their life experience up until that point, their lineage, what the blood that flows through their veins, that's all so unique to an individual. And so you have someone over here who's read all the books and says, this is how you should be doing it. Well, witchcraft is not something that you write about in books. You can write about traditions in books. You can write about occult practices in books, high magic in books, Wicca in books, shamanism to a degree in books. But witchcraft, you can't really write about witchcraft in books. Witchcraft is something that you have to do. You have to practice it. You can't find out how to practice it by reading somebody else's books. All you're going to be doing is reading about somebody else's experience and how something worked for them. But that something that worked for them won't necessarily work for you. And so this concept of there is a right way of doing witchcraft drives me fucking insane. It's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my whole life. And the moment I start talking about it, I'm just like, fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck, fuck. And I'm belligerent as a result of that. So I tend to steer very, very clear of that kind of conversation, mostly because of how it makes me feel and the anger that that rises inside of me when I hear it. But I realize something, and that is that not every single person in the world is an asshole. And that there are genuinely people out there that want to learn from one another, and there are genuinely people out there that want to teach authentically and want to share aspects of their path authentically. This is how I do it. It might work for you kind of way, but then again, it might not. And there's a sense of humble that I'm starting to see return to YouTube particularly. That is so refreshing. And going back to some of the channels that I mentioned at the start of this live chat, I do believe that people like Noah Tempestari and Alvine Green are legitimately authentic individuals who want to share authentic facets of their spiritual path, and that is just amazing to me. because for the longest time it was a lot of squabbling. I've been on YouTube now for probably about 4 years, and I've seen the rise and fall of so many great channels because of nosiness. And he said, she said, this is how you should be doing it, this is how I do it, therefore this is how you should do it. I've seen a lot of stuff, and there are people who have been on YouTube for a lot longer than me who have seen even more. You know, and I just didn't want to really be a part of all of that, because there seems to be like a, I don't know, an energy there, an energy in that particular part of YouTube, an energy in that particular virtual world that just reacted badly with me and what I had to share. So I sort of steered cleared from that. And yeah, that's sort of why I stopped sharing in that capacity. And I would really like to sort of reverse the clock a little bit, and sort of, you know, just go back in there with a really good heart and a few things to say, because my practice has absolutely evolved since I started out on YouTube, and I had values then that I no longer hold fast to now, and so many things in my practice has changed, which is exciting and deserving of sharing, because I think that witchcraft is an evolution, and if you are practicing your craft and nothing changes, then your craft will stagnate, and that is a terrible, terrible shame. And so as far as that goes, you can find just an amazing amount of inspiration now online and amongst your community if you're willing to go out there and be public about your craft, which is not everyone's cup of tea. You know, some people are really restricted in how they can present themselves and their craft. And for many, it's still a case of the broom closet. And that is something to be respected and not scoffed at, because we are all walking very unique paths, and we all live and operate in very different worlds. And for some people, it's just not possible. For some people, it could actually be a fear of safety, and for others, you know, footloose, fancy free, you know. So I think that the digital era of witchcraft has provided the necessary anonymity, and I think with that comes the good and the bad. And so what are you going to do? Hey, you know, you just got to make the most of it and keep your nose out of trouble, I suppose. So we're in storm season here in Cairns, in far north Queensland, and storm season is phenomenal. We're in February. This is February 2nd, and storm season, wet season. This is the lightning period of the Indigenous seasonal calendar, and the tropics experiences a heavy dose of rain and some good storm systems at this time. During the day today, when I was doing my client readings, it was so dark that I had like 4 candles lit or 3 candles lit. And I could have, yes, turned on the fluoro, but I don't like artificial light around me when I'm reading. I'll turn it on at night time, of course, but I don't really love the artificial light. And but it looked so dark. It looked like it was the evening. And thunder was booming around me, and the rain was just cascading from the sky, and everything was so loud around me. And I had the pleasure of reading in that particular environment. And my environment, it's a funny thing. I feel like I have to describe my day to my clients because I want them to feel present in my environment. And I do. I'm like, it's a beautiful spring day, or it's a beautiful Sunday, or today it's this time of the afternoon on this day, the moon is here and the weather is doing this. And it all makes sense to me. For some reason, that seems to work for me very well. And I would love it if I got a long distance reading from another person and they did that for me, because then my imagination could begin to formulate a scenario that would allow me to better tap into the experience. And so that's important to me. But I love to read. I love to divine. Not just read, I love to divine in the midst of storms. And this comes as a result of me having worked with Ian, that's her there. That's the statue of Ian just behind the Lenormand, the Dreaming Way Lenormand there, and next to the Lover's Path there. That's Ian in the background. Hello. I worked with her. She is a storm deity. She's a storm Odisha. One of her chants, and I'll sing it to you because I'm feeling moderately brave now, is Foinha San Kelampio, Santa Barbara diz que relampiou. Foinha San Kelampio, Santa Barbara diz que relampiou. And so it's talking about lightning. It was Yansan who released the lightning. So that's what it's talking about. And so whenever there's storm systems close by, and she's a wind deity, so often depicted with like a tornado of winds and lightning strikes and a sword. She's a warrior goddess, and I worked with her for, you know, close to 2 decades, no, more than 2 decades. And so I'm very accustomed to that weather and how it makes me feel. And I think that connecting to storm systems and drawing power from storm systems is incredibly special, and it can really boost any form of magical practice, whether it be divination or an actual act of manifestation. If you're spell crafting in that moment, you can draw down from the weather systems that are available to you. You can draw up from the earth power. And I think it's really important that people remember that when you are crafting magic, you're not utilizing your own energy. You are channeling far greater, far more powerful energy than what you are capable of producing on your own. As interconnected and beings, we are connected to this earth, so we have the right to divinely channel the elements that are present within nature. And so channeling wind when it is accentuated outside, so in the instance of a storm system, channeling that storm system down and infusing that into your craft could be beneficial. In fact, if there is a great storm system coming up, you're thinking, wow, I've got air magic to work with. How would I like to apply my air magic? How would I like to apply this abundance of air energy to my practice? And there might be something in the area that you need to focus on. For me, for instance, when I think of air energy, I think of a focus, of clearing my mind, of the ability to concentrate, connecting to inspiration, analyzing, communicating, and exchanging thoughts, and really delivering that communicative power backwards and forwards. And I might want to speed up communications in an instance. I might want to clear my head and bring about focus. If I'm studying, for instance, I would like a clear head and more focus for studying in academia or academic pursuits in any way. And, you know, if I've got computer issues, I'd apply that to that particular issue, because I'm working with the element of air, and they work really well together, don't they? And lots of rain gets me working with water. Being by the ocean allows me to draw a lot of water energy. But if I'm being entirely truthful, I don't work with water in a magical capacity all that often. I do acknowledge water ritualistically speaking, but I don't utilize it for water. Water is my shadow element. I've talked about this before. It's my shadow element, and so I have issues with water. It brings up the shadow in me, and water is very honest. It's the conduit to the divine, so it clarifies things within the energetic system. It clarifies, at least that's how I feel. It clarifies me and my energetic systems. And when I approach water, it's always very loaded. It feels like, oh shit, I've got to uncover something. I've got to work on something here. And as I approach the ocean, and my heart just gets heavier. It just gets heavier. I'm not an ocean person. My husband loves the ocean. He was raised by the ocean. He's a surfer, you know, he's just got tremendous balance, and he does lots of water skiing and jet skiing and boating, and spent a lot of time on boats. And, you know, he's very water oriented. He's an environmental scientist, and he's also got a marine biology degree. So he is a free diver and scuba diver, and he's that guy, right? And I'm just like, I don't really like the beach. I go to the beach all the time. I live at the beach, so I go to the beach all the time, and I sit there on the ocean. But I've lived at this dwelling for more than a year, and I've never gone into the water here. So that tells you I can swim. I've gone into just about every freshwater system around, but the ocean, not so much. And it's ironic that I am now working with an Odisha that is of the ocean. She's a manja there. Yamang Sereya. So she's a mermaid. And so I really need to be a little bit more willing to venture into the oceans. I mean, not right now, because I do live in far north Queensland, and it is stinger season at the moment. So we get these jellyfish called uricangea. And if they sting you, you can die. Like, it's very, very severe. In fact, I was on Fitzroy Island last weekend. We just did an overnight family little mini getaway thing. And I worked hard to finish all my client readings, and I went away, and I just spent one you know, a beautiful 24-hour period at this beautiful island, and it was so lovely. And in the afternoon of the day that we arrived, in the afternoon, there was 3 medical evacuations because 3 young children, it was so sad, the youngest was 4, got stung across the belly by Urukanji. It was on the news and everything, and it was just very, very startling. And so you don't really go into the water at this time of the year. And then when it's not this time of the year, when it starts getting into the middle of the year, so that I think it's around the April-May mark that you can start going back in the water. You know, you still have to be very careful because we have sharks and crocodiles in the waters up here. So they're not the friendliest waters, which does explain the reasons why I don't like to go into the ocean here. I have gone into the ocean when I've been down south, but my relationship with the ocean is not that great. And that's okay, but my relationship with natural bodies of water is fantastic, which is ironic because natural bodies of water, waterfalls, fresh creeks, gullies, river systems, they're the domain of Oshun, the Odisha Oshun, and that is my youngest sister's matron, Oshun. Yes. So I just need to come to some stability in that particular part of my practice. And yes, and go that way. But yeah, drawing power from the elements around you is absolutely fantastic. It's a fantastic way. In fact, God, I'm pulling a memory from way back. I'm just looking at my bookshelf. Scott Cunningham wrote a book called Earth Power. Yes, I can see it on my shelf here. And he talks about this specifically, is drawing power from the earth and not expelling or expending your own power, because that could actually leave you drained. I know people who in the beginning parts of their craft, they do this. They use an enormous amount of their own energy to create something. And it does come to being. This is not to say that their magic or their manifestation work or their energetic work has failed, but they end up depleted, and immediately after, you know, I'm talking a couple of days, they're sick. You know, they've got a cold or a flu or sore throat, you know, something that that showcases the fact that they have got their immune system was low and has somehow been corrupted. And so it's important to remember these little things. And this is something that I think should really be talked about and really be taught, is the responsibility of energy and channeling energy, because it is a foundation to magical working, is the manipulation of energy, the awareness of energy, and the manipulation of energy, and how to effectively manipulate energy. I'm not an expert at it. I'm not an expert, but I also don't suffer from the same sorts of ailments as I've seen other people suffer. And I still have my ups and downs in my magical workings. I'm by no means an expert, and I never want to I never want you to think that that's what I'm saying. I'm not an expert. I'm just more established in my practice, established enough to understand what works for me and what doesn't work for me and what I need to work on. You know, it's just a matter of self-awareness. And that's something else that I probably could mention right now, and that is the fact that because I am a hereditary practitioner, there seems to be this level of misconception when it comes to me, and that is, I'm so fortunate because I come from a magical family. Dudes, think of your family right now. Think of your family right at this moment and tell me if you'd want to be in ritual circle with them. Now, I love my family, don't get me wrong. I love my sisters. You know, I grew up in an all-female household. That makes me very aligned with the goddess, because I grew up with so much feminine energy around me. But think about it. Think about it really. Would you want to be in a circle with your mum, dad, your brother, your sister, your siblings, your mother-in-law, you know, those sorts of things? Is that something that tickles your fancy? Would you love that? I'm sure there are some out there going, yeah, I love my family. I'd love to be in ritual with them. Well, the fact of the matter is, when you're in ritual with them, then your craft becomes their business. Now, as a child, my mother already thinks that everything I do is her business. My sisters think that they have a say in everything that I do, from naming my children to not naming my children, to walking a particular path or wearing a kind of dress or whatever. You know, they think that they have a say. And so when you include your practice in that, they have a say in your practice. So right now, you're probably sitting there going, oh, I wish I was a hereditary practitioner. I wish I had some form of lineage to grapple onto. Understand that there is a byproduct, not a byproduct, there is a negativity to that as well. There's a downside. There is a downside. And furthermore, and I have a theory about this. I have a theory about this that's not so popular, but I'm going to share it anyway. I do believe this concept of I'm a first generation witch. You know, I come from a family that practiced Catholicism, or that were Catholic, or, you know, it's a little something along those lines. I've heard this story so many times. I was Catholic, I was at this, I was at that, then I found paganism, witchcraft, you know, the evolution of that story, that old chestnut, right? I do believe that if you draw back on all of that, if you just clear your mind for a moment and just forget about all of that, the necessity to be first generation, or to have a lineage, or to have a great grandmother that used to practice, or to have the privilege of an old family recipe to make an incense, you know, forget all of that, and you look back further enough in your line, there will be a witch in your line. Everyone will have a witch, a practitioner of ancient arts in their lineage. They will have it. It will be there, because at one point people did live off the land. That was their way of life, and they had an intrinsic link to that land. Your earliest ancestor had a relationship with the land that was mystical, because their life depended on their understanding of that relationship with the land. And when you think about it that way, that synergy that occurs when you work so closely with a living, breathing organism, it translates into something so beautiful. It translates into prediction. It translates to a deeper understanding. It translates to an innate knowledge that cannot be that cannot be sort of like gleaned superficially in our days. Like, this is something that is so deep and so ingrained in the human consciousness. And that's magic. That's earth magic. Understanding the way that the earth around you moves, your connection to that earth, your place in the world, how to navigate through star systems, how to understand from the color of the morning or the evening if there's going to be rain or storm or hail. And, you know, it's something that many people have lost, but it was there in every single human being's line. It was there. It was there. And so there's already this natural and intrinsic link to the earth. You don't need any more magical than that. You don't need scriptures or books of shadows or old family recipes or family lineages. You just need to understand the web that connects you to your ancient ancestors and work on that ancestral magic. Because once you start to tap into ancestral magic, you can tap into the earliest experience, the earliest memory. Ancestral work is the root of many practitioners' craft, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason why Samhain is so loved, and that is because we get to venture into the spirit world, we get to connect with our ancestry, we get to honor that ancestry, and that creates for a powerful time of the year, whether you're in the north or the south. I celebrate Beltane at the time that Samhain is celebrated in the northern hemisphere, but the veils, they do thin, and you do feel that spirit energy crackling. And if you're prepared to do so, then you can reach in and pluck out some memories, pluck out some experiences. You might want to sit in meditation and trance work at the exact time of the cross quarter, and you can actually see really, really far down into your line. And the funny thing is, the people who have had this experience just naturally, they think it's imagination. It's not imagination. That's the rational mind telling you that you're not having a magical experience. You're having a magical experience. Your imagination is one of the most magical tools that you have to work with. And so your ability to imagine something, to create something, and then your mind's ability to tell you that what you're doing is imagination, they're very closely linked, you know, and there's a little something in that. So if you can build up an awareness to your mind going, that's imagination, then you might actually be on the right path to picking out what is exactly a genuine, intuitive, magical, authentic experience. Anyways, but I'm just crapping on right now, so I might finish it up here. Excuse me, I've been talking all day and I'm starting to go a bit croaky. So for those of you who have stuck with me, thanks for hanging out. Sorry I couldn't actually chat with you. I might need to figure out how to do that. I might need to go back to Noah Tempestari's Google Hangouts video and see what he says about that, because I'm sure he did say something about that. I was a bit gung-ho and I went, oh yeah, I've got it now. I'm just going to go and do this Hangout. And basically I used to do Google Hangouts, you know, a couple of years ago before they changed their system, and it was very, very easy. enable a community chat there, and I don't see the same features now that they've changed everything around. So just thought that I would mention that fairly quickly. But thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys. Thanks so much. And I sincerely hope that you've had a little bit of fun, just, you know, just whatever's. I probably won't keep this on my feed, just so you know. I just felt like having a chat. And for those of you who saw my chat, that's great. I got to speak to you personally, but I'm not going to keep it on there for everyone to see. I'm not like that. Well, I don't think I am anyway. Anyways, so I'm going to go. Please look after yourselves. I'm going to go cook some dinner now. Wherever you are in this world, I sincerely hope that you are having a magical time of it, whether it be day or night, whether you're in the north or the south. I sincerely hope that you are being as bold as you are blessed. So please look after yourselves. Bye.